yesterday I got to hang out a little bit with you and your little buddy, Lorenzo.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about Lorenzo's future.
Yes.
I have a dream for him, a plan that he could possibly follow. Grows up, he graduates high school. He's handsome, healthy, and smart. Goes to college, film studies major. Graduates. He forsakes the siren call of Hollywood. He forgoes the glitz and glamour of film criticism, and he decides to pursue a career in academia. He becomes a prominent film professor, a David Bordwell of his generation, say.
Yes.
And he designs a college course based on this show. This is my father's life's work. I want to pass it along to students as a different way to approach film.
I would invite anyone out there to do that.
No, but see, Lorenzo would have something special because he could bring artifacts from the show. Students, gather around. Remember the tissue paper ghost I told you about? Well, here are its yellowed remains.
Dancing Homer.
So start saving up for college.
Oh, he has to go to college for that?
Yes.
Oh, can he just be some sort of autodidact professor?
I don't even know what that means.
Look it up. And then you'll find that you're an autodidact too. Tautologically true!
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. It may not be August, but tonight we're looking back to 2016. Some terrible things happened in 2016. Including the deaths of some of our most beloved actors, directors, and movie people. Tonight, we pay tribute to one of the fallen. This may not be her biggest role, but this is her big screen debut. And as we say goodbye to Carrie Fisher, we say hello to Shampoo.
Oh, nice! Okay.
That ended up being a poem. I didn't intend that.
Well, these things happen. Accidental poetry. It's gotten me into so much trouble. So we're watching your first movie, and then next month her last movie's coming out.
Mm-hmm. Released in 1975, directed by Hal Ashby, Shampoo stars Goldie Hawn, Julie Christie, Jack Warden, Welcome to the Basement alum Warren Beatty, and Lee Grant, who went on to win a Best Supporting Actress Oscar. Lee Grant has been on this show this season. She played Tony Pollar's sister manager in Valley of the Dolls.
She was the one person in that movie who seemed to be acting slightly better than everyone else.
Shampoo features another Welcome to the Basement alum from this season, who you probably wouldn't expect to see, William Castle. He plays a minor role in this. Let's see if we can spot him. This film was written by Robert Towne and Warren Beatty. When Beatty conceived the idea for the film in 1967, it was called Hair. He changed the title so as not to confuse it with the hit musical.
Fiddler on the Roof?
Yes.
Yes.
I wouldn't have to shampoo.
Scrubby, 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 scrub. I have kind of seen this movie. I caught the second half of it in a motel room in Red Lodge, Montana in 1999.
But you haven't seen the whole thing.
No, I haven't.
So you haven't seen it. But you know how it ends.
Yeah.
Clean hair, I'm assuming. Your gift tonight concerns another significant loss involving the number 16.
Not my virginity. It's quite a bit higher number than that. Abraham Lincoln. It's a souvenir penny album.
With some moldy old pennies in it.
Moldy old pennies in it. Are you familiar with the Paul F. Tompkins routine about the penny wallet?
Yes.
Now I have one too. Oh, some pennies haven't even been crushed yet. I made a little bit of a profit on this one. 6.
Technically, you can use those smashed pennies for currency.
Hopefully, it never comes to that. Oh, honey, I hate to say it's come to this. Get me the Smash Penny album. All the Smash Penny albums!
Won't you join us on the old leather couch where we've got shampoo for our real friends and real poo for our sham friends. Get ready to lather, rinse, and repeat as we watch Shampoo.
He's not cutting people's hair. It's too dark to do that. Maybe he's that good.
Shampoo begins with sex. Discreet sex, the kind that you can't see but can only hear and imagine. This was the cinematographer's day off. They just pointed a camera at a wall. November 4th, 1968. I know how this movie ends. Nixon gets elected. He's having a little liaison with Felicia.
George is her hairdresser.
But he gets a phone call from Jill.
Yeah.
Well, I'm currently having sex, but I can fit you in for a 2 o'clock. And he says, I gotta go see Jill.
It's one of those girls, isn't it? You're going to see one of those girls.
You're one of those girls. You stay naked, I'll be back.
This hairdresser is always on the make. George goes over to see Jill.
Jill's not having the best day.
There were some shots.
Jaeger shots. It was terrible.
I've had these dreams lately.
What dream?
Dreams about falling off the edge of a ship and getting amnesia and having to live with Kurt Russell.
How are you, baby?
I'm finished. He's got a big day the next day because he's going to the bank to try and get a loan so he can open up his own beauty salon.
Right now, I am at the epitome of my life.
The epitome. It's pronounced epitome.
It's not, actually.
It's not?
The epitome of it.
Epitome.
You are the epitome of a fool. Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy has always just been doomed to play an asshole.
Yeah.
He's never been a hero.
Nope.
He's always just an authoritarian jerk. The meeting at the bank doesn't go well, and George doesn't get the loan.
You asshole.
Even Beatty knows it. Beatty smash! Jill has lunch with Jackie. Jackie used to go out with George, and they talk about George. This is one of those regular people doing regular things in a day movies. Back at the beauty salon, George has a fight with his boss.
What is this horse shit about not collecting for the coffee? I want you to learn to collect for the coffee, George. When you learn to nickel and dime, you're gonna end up without a pot to pee in.
Or a pot of coffee.
George has a meeting with Lester, who's this rich big boy.
Well, then spend it. Just be sure it's there on the table tonight.
Jack Warden should have changed his name to Angry Mustache.
He's got this Captain Kangaroo vibe going.
Maybe Lester can give him the money. Lester is married to Felicia, who George is currently having an affair with,
Lester's mistress is Jackie.
who George previously had an affair with. Will you give me the money, Lester? I'll think about it.
Well, I invested myself in a lot of particular people.
You see, they call me Lester the Investor.
I just need to go talk to Mr. Moose and hope I'm not attacked by an avalanche of ping pong balls.
George leaves work early so he can go to Jackie's house and do her hair for the big party tonight.
I mean, I have to look absolutely great.
That's not how I cut hair. You leave me looking worse than you've ever looked in your life.
They're in the bathroom, styling. I had a weird dream last night. I dreamed I was a Wild West kind of entrepreneur, and you ran a whorehouse. And we kind of became involved in a business transaction. It was a weird dream.
You could almost call it macabre, but you wouldn't. One thing leads to another, Beatty style, and they start doing what comes naturally.
Sorry.
I'll just take you into the carbonite freezing chamber. But uh-oh, Lester just came home. They gotta do some quick thinking to make it so Lester doesn't think that shenanigans are going on. He doesn't, though, because he thinks George is gay.
Either come in or stay out.
Shut the door, honey. What do you think this is, a picnic?
Go, sister. You, blah, blah, blah. Gay stuff. You've been fooled, Lester.
Very tough on me.
Family of warblers are caught in Beatty's hair there. If he doesn't have sex once every 25 minutes, his penis will explode.
Warren Beatty's Speed. On the tennis court, George runs into Lorna, who is Lester's daughter. You might recognize her from a little movie called Star Wars. They go to the kitchen to have a snack.
You wanna fuck?
Warren, you forgot your spit take. Eyebrows, shrug, and then
They go to the bedroom to have what you have in the bedroom.
Felicia comes home.
Mona.
Doorknob.
Mona, Mona, Mona.
Doorknob, doorknob, doorknob. Bolo.
She goes in to see her daughter, and George walks out of the bedroom looking thoroughly sexed up.
I couldn't help it. He was my only hope.
Oh, George.
Come here.
Ooh, I just get so turned on by my daughter's sloppy seconds.
George goes home, and he finds Jill there.
The only way you're ever going to get money out of a bank is to rob one.
That's where the second act of the movie goes to.
And you never go anywhere. Grow up. Grow up, grow up.
Sorry, it's not working. I found this earring in the bed and a tennis racket in your pants. What have you been up to, George? And then George goes with Jackie to this big party. Jill is also there with her date.
Looks like all the pieces are going to come together on election night. Is Nixon going to win this time?
Felicia and Jackie meet face to face. Felicia knows something's going on. Nixon is on the TV, votes are being counted.
The American flag will not be a doormat for anybody.
The American flag will not be worn by Abby Hoffman. Wait, what? Ah, I've already failed!
Jackie gets drunk.
I think I can get you whatever you'd like.
Oh, that's Castle.
Whatever I'd like.
Whatever you'd like.
He's gonna give her the tingler, if you know what I mean. Jackie decides to make a little scene at the dinner table.
I'd like to suck his cock.
And then she does it. That's awkward. Nixon wouldn't like that.
And Felicia informs Lester that she knows what's going on with Jackie. Jackie and George leave to go to a better party.
I've blown it with Lester.
And blown other things near Lester.
I have been awarded the decided privilege of introducing our guest of honor this evening.
But first, I'd like to suck someone's cock.
Senator Joe East.
Hi-ya-ya. 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 Hi-ya-ya.
He's having one of his spells.
Hi-ya-ya.
Beautiful thing,
Hi-ya-ya.
Boy, I tell you, the Republican Party has really changed. No more hi-yi-yos.
No.
Hi-ya-ya.
And in conclusion, hi-yi-yo.
I recall another old ancient song.
We're here to take you back to the home, Senator. You're obviously unhinged. Lester decides to head out with Jill and Mustache Man, and they say, well, we're not going home, we're going to this party.
And Lester tags along. This is a much more hip party, a lot more 60s, if you will.
And the music is great.
It's so weird hearing Beatles on a soundtrack.
Why, this certainly is primo grass, soul brother. It's a happening, man. Lonely Hearts Club Band. This song is now very expensive.
This might be the greatest soundtrack of all time. Lester is befuddled by what these kids are doing. Oh, you prefer the acid.
I expect this scene to end with Jack Warden nude, painted, and dancing.
Oh, everyone, we forgot to vote. Oh no, Nixon's won.
George and Jackie walk around and they have a little heart-to-heart. You ever done it on a tennis court? I'm gonna lob your balls.
Actually, I did on a tennis court earlier today with Princess Leia, so my bucket list is not very deep any longer. I am Warren Beatty. They decide to get it on.
I don't really know how to say this, but would you like to come home with me?
I don't know how to say this, but you want to go home with me? Go on with me and go. Lester's gonna go skinny dipping with some flower children, but he needs a towel.
I've been waiting for Jack Warden to show us a little skin. They are caught by Lester and by Jill.
Please, my penis is very exposed right now.
George runs after Jill. He doesn't catch her. She's gone.
He goes back to find Jackie. Jackie's gone too.
He goes to Jill's house and waits for her. She comes home and says, "Get out, you." He says, "Wait, I want to tell you some things about me to explain my behavior."
There were a couple of... there was... Jesus, there were... This...
Wait, I need to check my lines. There's a couple, they're just, all right, good, I got it.
I guess at this point they break up. George goes home. It's not too late for a nude, painted Jack Warden. I'm just throwing that out there. Lester is there with some goons.
How long you been?
All night.
We're the men from the bank. You got the loan.
Well, now, wait a minute.
I said sit down.
I want you to make love to me.
I want to see how it feels.
He says you better explain yourself or my goons are going to punch your face.
Jackie, Felicia.
Your daughter. Don't forget your daughter.
George tells Lester a few things about himself to explain his behavior.
Women confide in him, and he confides his penis into the women. You realize that they're not so different, the two of them.
And by the way, I'm going to give you that money for your beauty shop.
George goes back to work.
I have the promise of a loan, so I'm here to burn all my bridges.
He finds out that his boss's son has died in a car accident. He realizes that death could come at any moment.
George goes to see Jackie. She says, "You can't be here. Lester's on his way. You got to get out." "No, I'm not going to leave." She says, "All right, well, I'll leave then." She drives away.
He chases her on his motorcycle. They end up on this bluff over Laurel Canyon.
And he proposes to her.
I'll make you happy, I swear to God I will.
I'm marrying Lester. He left Felicia this morning.
We're getting married and going to Acapulco. George bares his soul to her.
I don't trust anybody but you.
But it's no good. Bye-bye.
Now that he knows what he wants out of this world,
he is left heartbroken. Shampoo. Rub it in, rinse it out. Movie. It's one of those movies that doesn't really come together until the last 20 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize what the previous hour and a half has been showing you and giving you. You go through the movie thinking you're not finding anything out about him, and then by the time you get to the end of it, you discover you found out everything about him.
That's very typical of the 70s, where they will drag you along with heroes that are not very heroic. So you're stuck with these people, and then at the end, oh, there we go. So he's neither hero nor villain, he is merely protagonist.
His emotional realization at the end is quite moving. You suddenly care for this guy.
Because really, he's not pitiable at all up until that point.
But he's no villain. He's sort of a likable cad.
He's likable because he's Warren Beatty, but at the same time you kind of hate him because he's Warren Beatty. The one thing that saves him, I think, as far as in the audience's eyes, he seems kind of miserable. Meet me down to the shop. I'm just moving on to the next thing. The caboose of the train is moving faster than the engine, and eventually it's going to derail. And there's a moment when Jackie says about him, what I didn't like about him back then was that he was so happy. This guy's miserable. What happened?
It's not a story. It's a character study.
But it is all going towards a destination. It's this big whirlpool sucking into election night and what's going to happen there.
What is the significance of Nixon in this?
That is a good question.
Nixon looms over this movie like a shadow.
I think they capture it very well, and it's odd to do something that takes place in 1968, where the hippies and the drug scene are kind of peripheral, while the Republicans are the ones we hang out with during the movie. You have quite the nemesis for Warren Beatty, Jack Warden.
Who ends up sleeping with most of the same people that he does.
Yes, exactly. He has as much sexual power as Jack Warden, who looks like Captain Kangaroo, but super rich.
Sure.
I don't know, maybe that has something to do with Nixon. Nixon versus Kennedy all over again.
I wish I could figure out the Nixon thing.
It's so specific. They put the date up right there at the beginning of the movie.
Maybe it's simply there to put it in a historical context.
Yeah.
Maybe it's there to show...
You know what it reminds me of? The Big Lebowski. Took place in 1991. It was filmed in 1998. Why does it take place 7 years ago? The world looks exactly the same as it did 7 years ago. And yet there's something about The Big Lebowski which is very intrinsically 1991.
I have one more thing I want to talk about.
What?
This DVD cover. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Julie Christie and Goldie Hawn look bored out of their skulls. He's doing this weird, unnatural gesture. And what is this thing? Is this a pencil?
I think it's a comb?
Why is it pointing into her head? This picture makes no sense.
Yeah, they brought in Carole King to play Julie Christie for this cover.
I think this movie is more enjoyable to talk about than to watch.
I realized this a long time ago, like in the 90s, that it was more fun to talk about Ren and Stimpy than to watch Ren and Stimpy. It's more fun to quote the old SNL sketch, The Bears, than it is to actually watch that sketch. Because the sketch isn't funny. Except when you're thinking about it later on.
Well, that was Shampoo. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. But now you should check out Seen It.
Seen It!
Some movies are based on books, and so tonight we give you Seen It, Read It. Allison Z writes, Seen It, Captain's Courageous, 1937. First saw this film when I was around age 12. It's been one of my favorites since. Seen It.
Seen It.
And I also read the book.
I started reading the book. I really enjoyed the first few chapters. And then when all of the fishermen assemble and they're all from different countries, and Rudyard Kipling's like, you know what I can write well? Dialects. I am the man from Jamaica. I am the Norseman.
I get it. I
can't read that. That's why I can't read Eugene O'Neill's sea plays. They're just too...
I believe Captain's Courageous was the first novel I ever read. We got to a certain grade in school and they started having us read literature rather than just reading primers. And
yeah.
I was caught up in the adventure. Just the idea that it was a kid on a fishing boat and learning all these new things. It just really, really carried me through. It's a great movie despite Spencer Tracy's unfortunate accent.
You know who agrees with you?
Spencer Tracy.
Spencer Tracy, yeah. He admitted that he was not attempting a Portuguese accent, that he had never heard a Portuguese accent, and that he was just basing it off of people he had heard in the Yiddish theater. But the person who drives that movie is Freddie Bartholomew.
That kid he just kills me.
He starts out as the worst spoiled brat in the world.
But even from the jump, you really have sympathy for that kid because you know that he just wants to be a kid and he just wants to have pals and he doesn't know how to do it.
Jared on YT writes, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Seen it, read it.
Seen it, read it. I got the book right here. I want to read a little passage of this from you.
Sure.
This is the first line of the novel. They're out there. If that doesn't make you want to read a book, I don't know what will.
Had you seen the movie before reading the book?
I had, but the book is very different because, as you know, it's told from the perspective of Chief, who is silent throughout the entire movie. So the movie and the book are two different animals altogether.
What's great about Cuckoo's Nest is everything, but particularly all of the supporting actors went on to be the supporting actors of the 80s. Particularly Danny DeVito, who is cute as a bug in this movie.
Yeah, he really is.
Ken Kesey was doing a book signing for a children's book that he wrote, Late in Life. This woman comes up to the counter and says, Hi, Ken, it's me. And he just goes pale. And Mrs. Kesey had never seen him frightened by anything before. And it was the big nurse. When he worked in the institution, he based Nurse Ratched off of this woman. And she says, No, Ken, don't worry. Your book changed my life. No nurse wants to be that nurse.
Sure.
She became a great nurse after that.
Chris Chambers writes, Have either of you seen Inherit the Wind, starring Spencer Tracy and Gene Kelly? It's a bit depressing because of how relevant it still is, but it's a fantastic film. I've seen at least 2 movie versions of it. I've seen a stage production of it. And I've read the script.
I've never seen the movie Inherit the Wind, but I lived it because I played E.K. Hornbeck in that my senior year of high school.
Oh, that's a good role for you.
Yeah.
One thing that struck me reading the script, the author's notes, in that they were insistent that the townspeople not be hillbillies or rubes.
Yeah.
They're just good people. They're small town people who have strong beliefs. Leave it at that.
Yes.
This movie features Wisconsin's own Frederick March. It really looks like he's overdoing it. Even when he's merely chewing a sandwich, he's chewing the scenery. But I don't think he really is. Because if you look at this character, Brady, he's a failed presidential candidate. And at this point in his life, he's sort of become a caricature of himself.
Yeah, and Bryant was a very big man. He was a populist candidate. So he was like Trump is. I'm a man of the people and you love me. And he'd have these huge rallies and he was bigger than life. So Marge was probably playing something along those lines.
If you have a suggestion for Scene It, put it in the comments. Go to welcometothebasementshow.com and you will see our website. It's quite something to behold, and there are PayPal donation buttons. You can donate to support our show. You can make a one-time donation or a rolling monthly donation. Our recent rolling monthly donors are Cy, Reed, Andrea, Elizabeth, and Alfred. Anyone who donates to our show will get shouted out on our unboxing show. That's an entirely different show, where we also open up our mail. It's a fun time, and there are other surprises, too.
Like us on Facebook. You can find out what movies we'll be watching a couple weeks ahead of time, so you'll have a little bit of time to track down the movie and watch it yourself.
Shampoo has issued forth in a sudsy...
Went down the drain. How about gone down the
Shampoo has gone down the drain. And now this.
George, what's the matter?
And everything's great.
Great?
Good.
Good?
Not bad.
Not bad is not great.
I lied a little.
It's not even good.
Bathroom semantics.
You asshole.